Sorry, I know lighting is terrible, everything is terrible, probably sound is terrible, probably everything is terrible, but you know how I operate. I make videos and then something gets in my head and I stop, and then I make a new video and start it up again, and the first one's always terrible because I've been not making videos and it's freaking me out. And anyway, there's the disclaimer. Um, and in case anybody cares, yes, I've been reading a whole bunch of books, and no, I'm not making the videos about them anymore. Nothing to do with this channel. This channel has to do with avoidant personality disorder and how to cope in your life. I keep getting that light on me. Sorry, I don't know what that is even coming from. Anyway, how to cope with life when you have avoidant personality disorder. And specifically what I wanted to talk about here was how to make boundaries at work. Now, first of all, I'm really sorry if you're among the people who can't work. I mean, that's great. That's cool. I mean, it's not, but it is. It's who you are. And either you can or you can't. But there is a big number of people who are actually working with avoidant personality disorder, and they're considered underemployed. It actually used to be part of the DSM. One of the, there it is again, I don't know what that is, diagnostic criteria. Yeah, I'm nervous, sorry. About, that they would use to diagnose people with avoidant personality disorder, but that has been pulled from the DSM. So the issue is, it's kind of classic. They've actually done studies and said, for example, least likely person to get married, one of the least likely people, are not married, but divorced. Least likely people to get divorced are people with avoidant personality disorder, because you're like sort of, I mean, I was actually told specifically by my mother, made your bed and now you have to lie in it. And that's sort of like how people with avoidant personality disorder live. However, there are certain things at work that just make it intolerable. And usually what happens is that you just get to the point where you have to quit. And there's no discussion, there's no negotiation, there's no nothing. In my situation, yes, I work a lot. Sorry, I don't, well, I turn off the AC and I turn off the fan because I'm making a video. And I'm nervous. Sorry, it's probably gross to do. Anyway, in my situation, I was transferred to a different department last December or November or something like that I was not interested in being in at all. So what I was doing was I was working my regular full-time shift at this department that I really wasn't interested in, and then I was taking up a half shift and a 6th day a week working at my old department because I wanted to go back. Because of how they treat people, basically, everybody's left. Everybody's left. There's one person that works, again, just like me, like 4 hours a week, and then there's me, and the people that are there are just, they're not, they have a different priority. They don't care in the slightest bit about the people that are working in this company or in this department. They care about productivity and results. That's it. And so, for example, they really truly, I mean, the last person who left was the manager, who left because, no joke, they expected her to work 7 days a week, and they expected her to work 20 hours a week on Saturday and Sunday, because they couldn't find anybody to cover. And they just, this is your life now. And she has 2 little kids. She has a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and it's like, what? And she's married, and and they were like, yes, this is how it's going to be. And she was the last person there and that I actually still work with, and I'm like not interested in working here anymore. I'm like, okay, I have integrated into the new department that I didn't want to be in the first place, but I'm there now and I'm used to it, and the people are better. And frankly, for me, even more important than the work, more important than pay, more important than anything is, can I tolerate the people that I have to work with on an ongoing basis? Because again, avoidant personality disorder. So I'm not interested in working in that other department again. However, again, the new manager thinks everybody's a robot. The new manager thinks that, okay, there is work to be done, so nobody is allowed. If you clock in, you can't clock out until, and I mean, there is, it has to be signed off. If you want to get paid, you have to get signed off by the manager. He won't sign you off if there's any work at all. It doesn't matter what your schedule is. He just wants you to work. And I get it that they don't have anybody working for this company, and I wonder why. But it's a nightmare. And I knew that he was not going to be, and if you can hear my cat, I'm sorry. If you lost track, the only one I have left is Poppy. Hard year. Anyway, so if he's not signing off on people that are not going to be, leaving for the day, he's interested in that, then having somebody actually completely leave the department and say, I'm not going to work on this day anymore, impossible. And I knew it. And I knew, there's the avoidant freak out where you're like, nobody's going to do anything for you. Nobody's going to make your life easier. Nobody's going to do anything like that. You're going to have to fend for yourself and cope and deal, and you made your bed and lie in it. That is what the, avoidant sort of mindset is. Well, I just didn't want to work there anymore. And it was like, okay, am I going to quit the entire company and then have to go through, job interviews and finding another job and all that? Oh, not interested. As much as my job is a pain in the butt sometimes, I mean, it pays the bills, so that qualifies as far as avoidant personality is concerned. That's all you need. So I knew this needed to be done. First of all, I didn't think about it. So this is the steps to standing up for yourself at your job. First of all, I didn't think about it that long. I'd say less than a week, where I was like, this needs to be resolved. I made sure that I went to all my shifts and did everything that my job required so I would not be written up. But the big thing was that I really, truly, I did not want to work in this department or with these people anymore. But you can't say that. Oh my gosh, no, that would cause a crisis. So I came up with a solution that actually did help the company, because that's what this guy who acts like a robot, is the only thing he would accept. Literally, I went in and said, okay, well, I can't work this shift anymore here. Well, why? That's ridiculous. And there's a big part of me going, okay, well, I've been working over 50 hours a week, 6 days a week. No, I just don't want to. Well, you know what? That doesn't work for this type of person. Because again, the reason I'm in this job is because I have avoidant personality disorder. And I tolerate things that no sane person would accept. Because I think that's all I'm worth. Fact. And I can do the job, and I don't have to interact with people that much. Like, ongoing. I have a few coworkers, but basically it's client after client after client, and it's rarely the same person. That is what makes it tolerable as a person with avoidant personality disorder. So I went in and I was like, okay, listen, this other department, the one day off I have a week, I was like, listen, here's the thing. I need to have a day off. I know there's a good part of you that's like up in arms, like that's ridiculous. A day off, that's not something that's, I mean, that's a given that you should have 2 days off, actually. Forget about that. But I said point blank, I'm not going to work 7 days a week, period. And this other department currently, see, it's a timing thing, currently has a big opening in their schedule where nobody's working. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? They're just going to have to completely shut down at that time if somebody doesn't cover it. And so if I don't stop working here at this time and take that other shift, then, you know, there's going to be a hole in the schedule. Nobody's going to be working, and I don't think that's going to fly. And I literally said that, like, I don't think that's going to fly. And the guy thought about it for a couple seconds, and he's like, okay. So I got what I want. I am out of that department. I don't have to work with those people anymore. I will be working probably more than I've been working because I am at least temporarily going to have to take that shift until they start hiring people. They hire people, then it can drop, and I might actually be down to 5 days a week instead of 6 again. But that's what you do. I mean, I don't know if it's just this particular evil job, and I don't know if it's specific to somebody with avoidant personality disorder, but that is what you do. You ignore all the reasons that you have personally. You know, any other person, I'm sure if they said, listen, I'm just working too much and I don't want to work 6 days anymore, I want to work 5, they'll probably be fine. They would push back. Of course, they would want people working because that's the way it is. It's really hard to get workers now, which I don't understand, but whatever. So because they really do want people working, you know, but I can't tolerate that pushback. I would give in. I would be like, oh, okay, I guess I'll work 7 days a week, and I will like burn myself out and have to quit. But you know, I could do that, but I don't want to. So here's the thing. How to know when it's a good time to do this is basically when you've gotten to the point where if being in this situation, doing this job, working with these people, if it's a matter of, okay, this thing that you're doing right now is so intolerable to you that it would be at least a balance or better for you to basically lose your job and have to look for another one. If it's gotten to that point where you're like, I am willing to be fired, I am willing to walk away. Don't want to, because again, what a hassle trying to find another job. If you've gotten to that point, that's when you know it's time. And don't like hang out there and dwell in that place. Once you realize you've gotten to that point, that's the time to act, because you don't want to like spend too much energy on, you know, ruminating over it. It's fact. You've come to the conclusion that if you don't have this change happen, then you're going to have to make a major change and completely leave the company. Okay. That's when. How is to completely take it off yourself and have it not be about, well, this is what I want. Even though, I mean, that is completely legitimate to say this is what I want, and the company should. I mean, it's not like I'm saying, hey, I want to go from working 40 hours to 32 or something like that. I am saying I want to go from, you know, I'm willing to transfer. I just don't want to be in this department anymore. So that's what I did, and it worked. I still expect blowback. I expect to be called difficult. I expect to be told that, you know, I'm making this up. Although, I mean, it is a fact. I mean, right now, the department that I work for right now is okay. The problem is that they've gotten something like 60% of their employees have given notice because of um, the type of work I do. It's very much affected by the school year in the Northern Hemisphere. Um, and this is the time when people leave and get different jobs and or do something different. And that's what they've done. So, I mean, I was overstepping my bounds. It really should have been done by management. But, management's busy and I'm not a priority and I'll never be a priority. And I took it into my own hands. And that is how you do it. You do it when emotionally and like your existence, your reality is you can't do this anymore. And it's, as far as the stress of coping with whatever you're coping with versus the stress of trying to find a new job and new people and all that stuff, when they balance, that's when you have to make a move. And when you actually approach your manager, don't use your own personal feelings, even though, again, totally legitimate. And every manager in the world should be like, okay, cool. This is your boundaries. This is what you need. They should be like that. They won't be like that with you because they know there's something, even if you haven't told them that you're avoidant, they know there's something about you that makes you kind of a pushover. And so they will push. So if you use the company's needs as opposed to your own, you will get the change. They will respect your boundaries. And just hopefully you can live with whatever you are requesting for a change. But probably you know that anything is better than what you're dealing with now. And also, if it's not better to deal with whatever the new thing is, then you know for sure that it's actually time to, no matter what kind of a pain it is and how much stress it is, then you know that even if you get this change that you've asked for and it's still not enough, it's time to get a new job.